in history than I've read about or seen in my lifetime for sure. This is a moment where there's a threat to the Constitution of the United States and our constitutional democracy. That is fundamental, and it's in front of every other decision of policy that we might make.
Boom, mic drop. While the headlines focused on Senator Dick Durbin's retirement, what really shook the room? His brutal takedown of Trump, the GOP, and a political system he claims is teetering on the edge of collapse. Senator Dick Durbin just dropped a bombshell, not just about stepping down, but about where he thinks America is headed if Republicans don't wake up. This wasn't a farewell speech. This was a call to arms. Hit subscribe now for more no-nonsense breakdowns. Let's dive in. The interview kicked off like any classic legacy piece. A long-serving senator, Dick Durbin, announcing he won't seek re-election. A calm opening, a gentle nod to generational change. But it wasn't long before things
You should leave at a time when you still might want to stay and people might want you to stay.
This took a sharp political turn. The host pivoted to real-world issues, tariffs, Ukraine, Trump, and that's when Durbin unleashed. This wasn't just a graceful exit. It became an indictment of chaos, cowardice, and incompetence. When pressed on Trump's recent comments about Ukraine, including a bizarre peace post on Truth Social saying,
quote, "I'm not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv." There's been a number this morning. "Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop."
The panel barely batted an eye. This was meant to pass as a serious foreign policy stance. Even the hosts hesitated to challenge it, only vaguely pointing out,
yes, some stern words from President Trump today for Moscow, but to this point, his administration largely not asking Russia to give up much while asking Ukraine for a lot of concessions.
that soft framing was all Durbin needed to launch his takedown. Durbin didn't hold back, and his response was raw, personal, and utterly damning.
I remember the president's kind of idle claim that he needed about 24 hours to figure out this war in Ukraine. It's much more complex.
And then he hit harder.
And that Mr. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is fighting for the values which define the United States of America. This just isn't another trade war or skirmish in another country. It's so basic and fundamental.
He pivoted to moral leadership and the complete
But we're about to bury one of the greatest popes, I think, that has served in my lifetime. Wouldn't it be significant for the world to say we're going to have a Francis Day in this world? We're going to stop the wars in Gaza. We're going to stop the war in Ukraine and the other conflicts. We're going to feed the people in Sudan, and we're going to do acts of kindness in memory of this Pope.
Absence of it under Trump. This wasn't political rhetoric. This was a plea for sanity, and it wasn't just about Trump. He warned that the entire system is wobbling.
This is a moment where there's a threat to the Constitution of the United States and our constitutional democracy.
He didn't dodge responsibility. He didn't toe party lines. He dared Republicans to step up.
We have to get it together. I will plead with my Republican friends. Stand up for the Constitution. You took an oath and said you'd swear to defend this Constitution. It needs defense now more than ever.
In just a few minutes, Senator Durbin turned his retirement into a national reckoning. Just when you thought Durbin was done, he doubled down. Asked about the future of the Democratic Party and how it should respond to this moment of chaos, he didn't speak in vague platitudes. He went straight to the heart of the crisis.
This is a moment where there's a threat to the Constitution of the United States and our constitutional democracy. That is fundamental, and it's in front of every other decision of policy that we might make.
And then came the killer line. A line not just for Democrats, but a direct shot at spineless Republicans still clinging to Trump.
I will plead with my Republican friends. Stand up for the Constitution. You took an oath and said you'd swear to defend this Constitution. It needs defense now more than ever.
No ambiguity, no diplomacy, just raw constitutional alarm bells. And the timing, unmistakable. With Trump hinting at a return and the GOP still fractured, Durbin made it clear. You're either with democracy or you're complicit in its fall. Then came the hardest punch of all, a brutal reflection on what it means to hold office and when to let go.
I think if you're honest about yourself and your reputation, you want to leave when you can still walk out the front door and not be carried out the back door.
No names, no need. It was a clear swipe at aging lawmakers and clinging careerists, those ignoring the writing on the wall, even as their legacy burns around them. When asked if younger leaders should take the reins, Durbin gave a pointed answer.
Well, I think it's more complex. It is not just a question of a number, what your age is. Look at Bernie Sanders, for God's sake, still drawing.
But then, the inspiration.
But should a new generation be interested in public service? You bet. I've spent my time in office trying to encourage younger people to get involved.
And he did it all with one message. America's soul is on the line, and the clock is ticking. If you're as fired up as we are, hit that subscribe button, share this, comment below, let's break the silence. Because Durbin just lit the fuse, and what happens next is up to us.